which brings us on to our guest for episode 26 of Shotgun The Aux, Mr. Louis Jack Bear Ray. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm very good.
Yeah, welcome, man, and appreciate you coming down. So you've come quite a distance to be here with us tonight.
Yeah, I've come from Littlehampton, which is just outside Hove, near Brighton.
As you explained to me shortly before we started, well, I had no idea where you're actually from. You had to just sort of narrow it down to...
yeah, just say Brighton.
Really just the country, actually. It's somewhere in the UK.
Just Brighton.
Just humour us, man. We're like, basically, if you tell an American where you're from in the UK, it's kind of...
That's cool, man. Like, it was like that. I lived in Cornwall for a bit, and everyone was like, where do you live?
Just say, like within 3 hours of London.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, covers the radius, doesn't it, really? So it's calm. It's all good.
Nice one, man. Nice one. So, obviously, thanks for coming down, man.
Cool,
and you've been a Grassroots fan for quite some time, yeah?
Yeah,
so
I think I was subscriber number 15 on YouTube.
No way.
It's not bad.
Mad.
Yeah,
I like that,
I really, honestly, like, you guys, like, shout out, like, to the podcast and everything. You're doing a really good thing.
Does he get a prize for 15?
He gets
I
the
don't get
the
anything.
koala lamp.
I get the koala lamp. When
Yeah,
you
man.
have a studio, I get the koala lamp.
Deal.
Right, little guy.
Cool.
So it brings us on to our next section of the show, koala facts.
Nice.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm sure you know all about it.
Koalas carry chlamydia.
You said that
Is that the
last
last
time.
time? You can't say it again.
So I might
need a
be
new fact for
I might be
refresh.
chatting shit, but are koalas actually bears? Because they're marsupials, aren't they?
Yeah, koala bear.
I should know this.
But are they
I
really a
don't
bear?
know.
And yeah, exactly. So ask the bear himself. From one bear to another, is a koala actually a bear?
I'd say yeah.
Okay.
I'd
Right.
say it's part of the bear family.
Jake, get all the Google stuff, man.
Me?
Google the shit.
But
So going on to kind of inane random bullshit.
yeah.
And we were chatting a little minute ago about David Icke and conspiracy theories.
Indeed.
Just to start the podcast.
Yeah, just lightly for
and don't
everyone.
worry, I will bring this back round to
Nice.
hip hop somehow, because obviously it needs
How
to
the
be.
fuck are you going to do that?
Easily, man.
Anime.
Easily, man. So what we were talking about before.
I'll be
is-
honest, I'm not actually sure who David Icke is.
So David Icke was an ex-footballer. I think
Right.
he played in goal for Coventry and then Hereford and retired back in the 70s. And he's since he must have either had a nervous breakdown or he's done a shit ton of acid.
Lots of acid.
And he kind of theorizes that he's just a mad conspiracy theorist. Like he's always saying how the Queen is from like a race of lizard people, and he thinks that like.
Yeah.
He thinks that the top members of government and royal family and all that kind of stuff are lizards, which is mad.
Doesn't make any sense.
But to tie it back to the hip hop tip,
Yeah.
right? So you heard that track.
Comes in.
You heard that track, "Heavy Metal Kings" by Jedi Mind Tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the introduction to that track is like a long kind of like monologue by David Icke, and he's saying how the little oblong box in the corner of the room is persuading you to do shit. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty sick little intro. So yeah, we've done a 360 here. So David Icke, lunatic. Anyway, moving on.
It's a bit
Do
nuts.
you know what? I heard a story about some guy that tried to sneak acid into a festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fuck knows if this is true. If it is true,
The
it's
best way
fuck-
to sneak that in
it's
is take
fucking-
it and go to the festival.
So what he
Yeah,
did,
no,
right? He
it
bought it in
doesn't
to try
drop for you.
and sell it. So
Yeah.
he got fucking sheets of tabs,
Yeah.
sellotaped him around his
It
like
went
legs
in
and his
his
arms
skin,
and
innit?
body. Fucking gets really sweaty in the queue,
course.
and
out.
Absorbed it all.
obviously absorbed it all.
Absorbed it all.
And apparently now he's in a mental institute and he spends all his days standing in the garden thinking he's a sunflower.
Yo, what the fuck? That shit's crazy.
I mean, it's quite funny, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's really not
At the
funny.
same
but-
time,
No,
it's
it's
tragic.
definitely not,
Jesus
but it's also
Christ.
very tragic.
So do you have to kind of like sing to him to make him dance?
I don't know, mate.
Do you remember those
but-
little pots that you sang to? Like
What,
little
like the
fake
Bill and-
flowers?
Yeah. Bill and Ben.
Flower-
Yeah.
flower pot man. Yeah.
Oh man, we've
Or
gone
that
off on a
Scarecrow and Zelda in the Ocarina of Time that you played the thing to. There you go. There's a throwback.
Oh my days.
Is this still a hip hop podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, right. So Bear man, thanks for coming down. So
Welcome, man.
tell us and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your history into hip hop music, into what you do behind the scenes. Just talk a little bit about you, man.
So basically, I started making music, like producing, like getting into it when I was like 14. But I started playing saxophone when I was 8. So that was kind of like the bridge in, was like playing music and kind of like learning how to play on that. And then when I was 14, like I discovered like Gang Starr,
Yeah,
like,
man.
Guru, like Rakim, like all that, like Moment of Truth, Champion Sound, everything like that. Sorry, Aiden. Yeah, and then I kind of like took influences from that. And then I found, like I was saying to you earlier, like Breezy Lovejoy, who now is known as Anderson .Paak from like Knock Steady all those years ago. Like all that like dumbfounded, like Intuition, like Equilibrium, all those guys kind of like production wise, and like Waxy, OM rest in peace, like, and everything like that. And it's just, I kind of built up from that. And then I was living in Cornwall at the time. So I moved from Cornwall to London. I moved to like Peckham, like Enfield, like all over. I started working with a couple of guys in Don't Flop. I did a track with Gang Starr and Micall Parknsun and Dirty Goods called Don't Watch.
Wait, what? You did a track with Gang Starr?
No, Joker Star.
Oh, sorry.
I
thought you said
I know that kind of went. I was just like,
I was just like, what? Okay, you did a track with Joker Star.
Like loads of years ago.
So you got involved with Don't Flop.
Yeah.
So what? How did that happen?
So I was living upstairs from a couple of the guys, and then kind of like fell into that.
Through the floorboards, presumably.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And then worked with those guys for a couple of years.
Woodworm.
Yeah. And then I moved back.
They were having a rap battle.
Just like literally, that was my special move, bear stance.
Yeah.
So then I did that for a couple of years. Like got to know like all of those guys. And then I moved out to Spain for 6 months. Like and like did a load of stuff out there. Just like chilled out. Like made a like kind of like perfected my art basically like a little bit more. Came back, moved back to London again. And then I kind of started doing tours for people. So like I found this guy called Troy Antoine, and he's like an MD of this group called Funky Viva. And they like manage like a load of people like Aston Marigold, like Anastasia, like Liz McLaren, like a load of people. And he's like the head vocal coach on The Voice. So what he does is like obviously like he's got like an in with those guys, which is cool. So I do like freelance work for that. I do freelance production for like a load of people. And just kind of like I've taught myself everything over 10 years. I'm like I've got synesthesia, so like I see like the sound as like colors and stuff, so it's kind of like a little cheat code.
Wait, what? Okay, man, like, rewind. So explain that. So
like when music plays, like everything's like got colors, and like I remember describing it to my mom as a kid, and she's like, "What are you on about?" Like, and then like obviously like production, like we were talking about Cubase and stuff, you can like color stuff. And obviously, like in industry, like you've got set colors for stuff. But like if you look at my beats, I'll show you guys later. It's like everything's colored to like what the color of the song is. So it's like sometimes like depending on like the tones and whatever. Like say like F sharp will be like, and the blues is actually like blue for me. But I know some people with synesthesia, like in interviews and stuff, like some's like orange, like purple. Like there's so like different kind of spectrum of like ways that you process music.
That is crazy.
It's kind of nuts to like describe, and sometimes I think when I'm writing I see pockets that maybe aren't there normally to other people because I'm seeing stuff.
Can you taste colours?
No, I can't, but I know some people, like I've researched it, do, and then some people smell colours.
How does one smell and taste a colour?
So
I'm a layman, man. I'm completely.
I've only heard about this once before.
Yeah.
Someone that I work with, and he was telling me that.
I mean, I can only associate like an orange with an orange. That's probably like.
Yeah. The first thought in my head was, what that koala lamp tastes like.
Don't try and find out. Drop some acid, you'll be licking it later.
Depends, Jake. Do you know what chlamydia tastes like? But yeah,
don't answer that.
But yeah, I work with someone who could generally like taste colours, and you can't. There's no way to sort of describe what the taste is, and other than it tastes like blue.
Yeah.
What's that taste like? Well, blue. That's blue. Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. Sorry, Tom.
No, it's cool, man.
It's basically like. So, like, if I start chopping stuff, sometimes, like, I'll set up, like, my Ableton and stuff is, like, what I kind of produce stuff in, then I move it to Logic to, like, mix and master, and then sometimes I'll, like, use Cubase as well. So, like, my beats and stuff have, like, this weird kind of sound because they've been moved through programs. And, like, a lot of people kind of don't use different programs because they maybe, like there's stigma behind that, which is really weird, like between producers and stuff. Like a lot of the time people are like, I use Pro Tools or blah blah blah, but it's like you should actually be able to use all of it to like a certain capacity. So if say you step into a studio and they've only got Pro Tools, at least you know how to use that because all the plugins work the same. Like a bus is still a bus on Logic, it's still a bus on Pro Tools.
So go back to the color spectrum and what you can see and visualize when you're listening to music. Is that like subjective depending on who the person is with the condition?
And it's like, it is, and it's like, and it
That's
depends
crazy,
kind of
man.
like how your brain makeup works.
Fucking hell.
So it's like I was telling you earlier, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've got high functioning like autism, so it's like I see things like very quickly and like process everything a lot.
So this
faster than
explains
normal
why
people.
we were watching the Georgia Smith performance doing that garage track Flowers, and Louis was just commenting the whole time like she needs to be an octave lower, she needs to be doing that, and like really kind of like intricate details. And I was like,
so
God
that's
damn,
the reason.
Yeah.
That's
this
mad,
guy.
isn't it? Because I was just thinking like, fucking hell, this guy knows the sounds.
Yeah.
Like this guy knows.
But
music.
it's obviously learning that as well, because you like without like it's like. I say this to like a lot of people that I meet and like a lot of people that like I work with and stuff. It's like if you've got talent, like cool, it's a good baseline. Like say you're a rock climber or whatever, like you've got a good base level of talent. Take Chris Sharma, like or Alex Honnold, like one of the best rock climbers in the world. They've got
I have no idea who they are.
So no, I'm just using like people as an example, like Michael Phelps, like for example, like as an analogy, like Eddie Bravo, jiu-jitsu practicer, like whoever you take.
Sorry, you didn't say Johnny Bravo, did you?
No,
You said
Eddie Bravo,
cool.
jiu-jitsu, yeah, so, not Johnny Bravo. Like take the dude from Carty. No,
So outside of a hip hop capacity, we're really fucking stupid.
no, it's like, today's an educational episode.
I don't even know shit about hip hop.
It's golden. But yeah, so it's about like I think it's like that, and you just process things that way. And then you just learn from that, and you just like the talent aspect's a good base, but when you kind of take that away and you're like, what else can you do? Like without like say you use your voice as an instrument, say you can play like piano, saxophone, guitar, whatever. Like you get to a certain point where it's like you will always find somebody that is better than you. And if you can surround yourself with a bunch of people that you fuck with, that everyone's on the same level, there's no ego involved, and everyone's better than you, and you're the best in the room at something else, but everyone else in the room is better at you at your like weaknesses, you will grow so much faster.
Of course, man.
But a lot of people don't want to do that because everyone's trying to like still shine, or like they can't take the time or like put the work in.
I think it's pride for a lot of people as
And
well,
it is,
isn't it?
but it's like you just have to like swallow that.
Humble
and be
yourself.
Like, and you just got to be like, look, we're all the same. It's like I was saying, like Aston, Anastasia, like Anastasia, she literally sings.
So
She
just to give some context, so Anastasia was a pop star back in the day, yeah?
Yeah. And
Okay.
she's still really big now, like does like world tours, stadium tours all across Europe, like all across the world, like, and she's like doing bits. But it's like she does singing and songwriting, and she's always got a team of people doing the songwriting, and it's like it's nothing to take away from her musically, because she can obviously sing and she's got lungs, and it's like that's dope. But it's like then you've got the bass player, you've got the guitarist, you've got everyone that kind of puts everything into that. And it's like when you've kind of seen that and you take elements and you've like taught yourself like piano, I like started on saxophone, then you like guitar, drums, whatever else, like mixing, mastering, like and you end up at a point where you can do most things apart from like shoot a video, because you need somebody else there to do that, maybe graphics, like. But then if you can then put everything out and like it's like Russ, like mixed, mastered, produced, distributed by X, Y, and Z, like you're not going to be in this weird situation that Taylor Swift's in at the moment, where Scooter's just brought Big Machine Records and he now owns all her catalogue, and it's like she doesn't own her masters.
So going back to that, what's happening with that? Because
So basically,
I've heard mixed things. So she's saying one thing, but then other people
Taylor's
jumped
right,
on it
basically.
and said that actually
Like,
Hashtag Taylor's
like,
right.
sorry,
That's our new hashtag, Shotgun The Aux.
sorry, but like Taylor's right. Like shit, like Scooter, Scooter. Do you know how Scooter started? Like quick.
I always thought Scooter was that that kind of trance band from back in the day.
Okay, all right, cool. Like,
Yeah. But maybe the guy with the peroxide blonde hair. But
maybe.
I'm guessing this is some big like music mogul.
Yeah. Just some dude. Yeah. So
of all the names you could pick, why the fuck would you choose Scooter?
See, that's why
ego,
I thought
man.
it was
ego, innit?
We got.
It's just. Yeah.
I'm gonna post some actual Scooter later.
Like that's like me like becoming a rapper and just naming myself Car.
Yeah. We're gonna make a track. You're gonna be.
I guarantee there is a rapper somewhere called Car.
Yeah, and I bet he thinks he's dope, but he's not.
His full name's probably Carl.
His full name's Carl.
Nice, Jake.
Oh my god.
Funny.
So I got to go on a tangent, right? I was listening to. You heard of Pete and Baz? You know the old guys do grime.
Oh,
Right.
my
Wait.
days on Grime Daily.
Do you enjoy it? Because 2 seconds. Like, do you
Alright.
enjoy them and not?
I rate them.
So
I think they're
rate
fucking
them.
sick.
So I rate them.
I honestly do. Like,
But-
there is kind of an element of, okay, is it just novelty because they're old? But I really think they're.
No.
I think they got bars, man.
He says handstand backflip ninja. Like, there's no doubt that he has bars.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the point is like my friend Stretch. Like, shout out to Stretch. Like, he's like one of the people that I work with. Like, really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You should go check out his shit as well. He's dope. Basically, like, he went and saw them like in Croydon with his girlfriend, and he said that obviously they only got 4 songs, so like they played those and then they just played them over and over again for half an hour and was like getting more hyped and more like out of tone, and by the end it was just like these 2 old guys on stage that were,
Yeah, but that's what they are, though.
getting wiped out. But I respect it, like, and like it is a kind of like it's a weird thing because it's like there's a stigma behind that whole thing.
It's kind of it's kind of like, yeah, I get if it was just kind of like novelty rap and they didn't have bars and they weren't bringing it, but I genuinely think their tracks are hard. Like, if when I see them, I'm like, fucking hell, the stuff they're actually rapping about, you're like, they're sick, man. Like,
I
kind of think fair play to you.
Beat.
Yeah, they're on beat.
yeah,
sorry,
they got
like,
bars. They got better bars than a lot of grime artists out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, just being old boys, they probably just like only have like so much capacity. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
I really rate them, man. I think
Yeah.
they're good. I think they're quality, and not even in an ironic sense. I think they're like I was listening to one. I think the track was like the video they released. They had like some guy like tied up as hostage and whatnot.
I saw that.
It's like a freestyle. It's called something freestyle. And I
Yeah,
thought,
it came
man,
out like
this is-
last week.
Fuck yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I really rate them, man.
Yeah,
I've seen that being uploaded, but like I rate them. I think they're great, but I just can't be asked.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That sounds
But
really
no,
bad to
but
say.
I'm
it's
just
just
talking.
like-
No. But I'm
everything,
talking.
isn't there? Like-
I'm talking like objectively though. I'm saying because like it's a tricky one because yes, they are like 2 old boys. So if you're looking at them, you're going to think, oh, 2 old white guys doing grime is going to be a joke. But then you kind of listen to their music objectively and you think, fuck yeah, you've got bars, you've got great flow, your beats are fucking tight. And just the whole kind of like the Cockney aesthetic as well. I just think it works so well, man.
To be fair, I don't know if I've properly actually listened to the lyrics because the way I look at it is just
Dance on a Peugeot.
just two
Got tools that bang.
just 2 old guys just sort of like rapping.
Yeah, but they're probably like if you. Like, I'm just gonna pick an artist. Well, I'm not gonna pick an artist you like, but I guarantee they've got better bars than some artists that you like who are young.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's just because
There's no doubt
you have
about
that
that.
preconception because they are like old boys doing grime that they're just shit. But it's like no, like I'm actually into this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my my 5 pence on the matter.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, I think there's a time and place for everything, man. Like, and you just gotta like figure out where it fits. Like, you might be in the gym and you might be like fucking.
That's it,
like,
man.
Like
exactly.
you might be going in. It's cool, but like
It's a banger.
But then like obviously if you're fucking at home chilling, like say we played it now, and we're all chilling out.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's
like there's no need.
But that's
but,
yeah,
like,
but that's the
what's
same
your
with
gym
anything.
music?
what's my gym music?
Yeah.
Russ, like Ain't Going Back, like is it YBN? No, YBN Corday, like fucking like No Mercy, like G Yamazawa, like rap shit. Like
I really
Bear.
don't know.
Yeah, same. For
Found
me
it,
as well, man. Are they?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that
Like,
hip hop? Is it?
Yeah. It's all
Mate.
hip hop, but it's like Russ has got like 2 billion streams on Spotify. This is what amazes me about shit, right? It's like when I have conversations with people and they're like, you need to do this, or you need to do this, or you need to do this to get wherever. It's like, actually, do you know what? Like, there's people out there that have 2 billion streams, 4 billion streams, like 500 million streams, like fan base, and people haven't even heard of them. So I'm like, why? Like, people get funny about.
I suppose
like,
the right.
certain
I
aspects of
suppose
stuff.
that's the point with like.
And it's like everyone can shine, I think.
Everyone has a
Like,
fan base, don't they?
Yeah.
So people have heard of them, but just that pocket of people.
Oh, 100%.
And that's
it's
where
nuts,
it
like,
it
he
boils
sells
down
out
to.
Crazy
MGM
that-
Graham.
How many views?
Like 2 billion. Like some of his videos on YouTube have got like 86 million views. Like he's sold out MGM Graham. He had a 7-day Vegas. Russ.
Like RUS.
Yeah,
like, they
RUS.
must have heard it.
Honestly,
RUS.
like he's got songs with like Collie Buddz. Like honestly, he's so dope.
Every time I
but
go on
everyone-
YouTube, which ask me about this free fucking trial.
But everyone hates him because he's like done it all himself. He's spent the past 10 years putting out music, doing shit,
Yeah,
and it's
man.
like, and he's made it. He's mixed, master, produced himself. Like he had
It's-
a pull
it's
up
Gun-
with Joe Budden.
Is Gun Lean a good song?
Oh, bruv, that's UK Russ. I'm talking about
Oh.
like, pass me your phone.
Where's he from then? Is he
American
American?
Russ. Yeah.
American Russ.
Yeah, so you just want Russ, like...
Hey, American.
Just Russ.
Yeah, like 100 million views. That's his YouTube channel. And it's just like, people are doing bits, like, everywhere. And it's just about how you do it, how you approach it. Have you got an honest tactic, like, how's your fan base? Have you built them up? Like, do they respect you? Like, do you respect them?
Can we just pause it there? Because I genuinely want to listen to this.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's do it. I'm getting a bit of Kanye vibes from
Yeah,
that.
but it's like on point, subject, goodbye, talking about girls, good song, good hook, like everything. It's like cohesive.
Yeah, man. No, for
and
real.
it's like you just don't get that a lot of the time with people who are like not real. And it's like he's promoting a good message, like he's trying to like help people out, not sign bad deals. But like people hate on him, and it's just like I don't get that. Like, it's a bit
That's it, man. It's good
I'm
to like.
surprised I've
discover
never
new-
like heard that before. Because
Yeah.
you'd think like a
Same.
song with that many videos,
honestly, like,
that many views, you're gonna know something about.
but it's all perspective. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you guys, like in 3 years' time, I promise you, if you keep going consistency-wise, like I was talking to you about the Deadhead and the hip hop thing, you'll have a studio. You'll be like, and that's the thing. It's like it's about seeing it and putting it out there and making it like.
I mean,
happen.
that's the plan. That's the
Yeah.
ambition.
I
man.
guess also to your point, Aidan, it's like and to yours perspective, it's like an echo chamber. Like
Yeah, man.
what you listen to on like social media, it's all based on like algorithms. So you'll say I love kind of high focus. You'll listen to it. So everything in your feed and everything you see is going to be related to that based on your search history.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? All the cookies and whatnot. It's exactly the same perspective. Exactly the same when it comes to like your political, spectrum and everything else. Whatever you put out there,
But
you
yeah,
get back
I mean,
in the internet.
social media is built to show you more of the stuff that you like, things you're gonna
Yeah, of course
like.
it is, man.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
So it's weird. Yeah, stuff that's new most likely doesn't touch your radar. Isn't that strange though? Actually,
Weird.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
going
weird.
on to a new sort of
Like-
topic. Actually, everyone is in our own sort of societal, cultural bubbles
Yeah, of course, mate.
because of social
Yeah.
media,
And
that's just
tribal
showing us
theory.
stuff that we like and that we kind of want to see.
And the tribal theory. Jake,
I
what's
watched like a half-an-hour video on the cognitive
Go on.
something or other, where it's basically
the cognitive
it-
something
is
or other
it
with
C-
Jay.
Is it cognitive?
Mr.
behavioural
McClure,
therapy?
what? Mr.
It's
McClure, what does
CCT.
DNA stand for?
like basically how humans evolved to language. So monkeys are
What
really
the fuck
sick.
is he
Let
on
him
about?
speak.
Let the man speak. So
let-
monkeys,
He
like
doesn't speak a lot, so let him speak.
yeah, let him
He knows. He really is a fan.
So like
I'm
you would
surprised.
flash like some numbers up, like 9 numbers up in front of a monkey in a random order, and then show him away, like in 0.5 seconds, just blink him in front of him, and
Yeah.
the monkey will bang 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 tap on the screen. They'll get it in the order straight
Yeah.
away like that. Humans, obviously, it's just like we cannot do it that quick. It's
Yeah.
it's almost impossible, and that's because when we were pretty much kicked out of the trees and we had to like work as teams, and we got rid of that part of our brain,
Yeah.
and we basically substituted it for language.
Okay.
So we traded it off for language, and that's the theory. Is
Okay. What? So what,
Aiden's face
wait,
right
wait,
now says it all.
Wait, Jake. So, what
Tom,
you're saying?
Tom's just taking
2 seconds.
for the video for the listeners.
is
Tom's just taking a
the
weird
way we
picture of him.
develop language
Yeah.
is through like dropping one part of our consciousness and like replacing it with another.
Basically, one part of our brain, which was almost like a photographic memory, where we
Yeah,
quickly
yeah.
work out problems and resolve it.
Yeah.
What monkeys probably needed to do, they quickly needed to avoid danger and get out there. Whereas us humans, who developed out of the trees and we had to develop teamwork, working as a team, as a community, we had to communicate with one
Yeah,
another.
yeah.
We kind of almost got rid of that part of our brain and substituted that part for a language. So then we learned to communicate and obviously
That makes
evolve,
sense,
and
to
this
be
is
fair.
language. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
How
Yeah.
the fuck does that
no,
make sense?
So
It
no,
does
no,
make
no,
sense
That kind
because-
of, so that
Watch the
Because
video,
mate,
you-
watch the
you-
video.
you-
Yeah.
we've evolved in different ways, and it's also kind of like we've had to evolve to. That's why we made weapons, because for example, our brains expanded. So when predators are we can't outrun, say, like a cheetah, but we can make a weapon to shoot it. Do you see what I'm saying? So your brain kind of like works in different ways to kind of overcome predators.
Do you want to know
And-
something crazy? So like 10,000 years ago, I'm like I do freelance PT as well, like while I'm not doing like music stuff.
Well, you're not doing the 10 million. other
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that you do
exactly.
freelance, yeah.
Ta-da! Yeah, so But so 10,000 years ago, like obviously, like I've studied my shit on like sports science and like the way our bodies work, and this like links in with what you're saying, Jake. So it's like 10,000 years ago, there's a gene in our body, the way that we run, like the biomechanics of it working, and it's like switched off, but like we still can use it now, but obviously, like, we're not going to outrun, like, we're not going to be able to catch a deer or, like, an antelope or whatever. Like, but you're going to have to be able to run as far as that.
Is it true that humans can run, we can run the furthest out of any other animal on the planet?
Yeah. So, basically, we can run for 250, 300 miles because the way that we work is we sweat to, like, modulate our heat. Animals, they have to stop and pant to start, like, modulating their heat. At some point, they're going to have to fucking stop running, and they're going to stop. At that point, you got spears, you got knives or whatever. You can get real close, and you can obviously, like, then kill them. That's how we used to hunt, man. And that's how the tribes used to work, hence that theory. But the way that that theory works is that there's a theory called the stoned ape theory, where when we were moving along and the language came apart, yo.
Aiden's a stoned ape.
Yeah, you're a stoned ape, Aiden, definitely. You haven't even smoked any weed, you're like, boom. And the mushrooms, basically, they were foraging through these forests, eating mushrooms, like gathering stuff, and that links into what Jake's saying, and that links in back to the running, because, like, all the genes are still there, locked in our DNA, we just don't use them anymore.
Oh, man, I regret asking Jake now about the tribal feed, but that's yeah. We're educating the kids here at Shotgun The Aux.
I'll take it back to hip hop though for a second.
Tribe Called Quest. Let's just link it together.
I saw a sick video today on Common's Instagram. I Common as in common sense.
Yeah.
So like he posted something. I don't know when. I didn't check the date, but he basically was in I think New Orleans, and he saw like this street performer like freestyling in the streets, and like apparently like Common stopped, and like this guy was like really good, like proper freestyle.
Yeah,
and
actually
he was
rapping. Yeah.
At the time, I don't think he did anything. Just like kind of admired it and went on. Went about his day. He then linked up recently with a street performer. Went back to that street and performed with him. And they would like just spit in the street together with like this kind of like I think maybe like a drummer in the background. There's like a full video on his Instagram, like a Instagram like TV kind of thing, where it's like obviously like a few minutes long. This video, and it's a proper cool video. And I kind of saw that today.
Oh, man, that reminds me of something. So there's a producer called Mr. Green. He works with like R.A. the Rugged Man, and he's worked with all kinds of people.
He did the Green Thumb tape, and he sampled all the Al Green beats.
So he did that which was sick. But tying back to what Jake was saying about the busker guy, he went around the world and listened to various buskers and stuff, doing kind of like using various instruments and stuff, and sampled all of these and made an album out of it. I can't remember what it's called, but it was absolutely incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, it was really, really different.
There's people called Playing for Change, and they do that. They do like a video of somebody, like they all say
Live from the Streets. That's what it was called.
Okay.
So yeah, check that out, people. Live from the Streets. Really, really good concept album from Duck Down.
Sweet.
But yeah, he just goes around recording street entertainers, and he just like turned it into a really sick album.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You really like that, man.
Mate, I'm not gonna lie, my brain's still a bit frazzled from the
from the monkey.
Aiden's having like
and Jake is. Like
Aiden's having like an existential crisis here. He's just like looking at himself.
I'm really trying to like digest it, but it's just not going in, man. We need some. There's going to be some serious show notes for this episode.
Yeah,
so hypothetical question of the day. I've been posting these on Twitter.
Yeah.
Obviously no response because Twitter's dead at the moment. Get on the Twitter, guys.
Tweet everyone.
So, like you're in your car and a man jumps in your car, right?
Or a woman.
Or a woman.
No discrimination.
Man or woman.
Or it doesn't have to be.
Or a koala.
Yeah, or a koala.
Or a bear.
Koala.
Yeah, or a bear.
And he's like, actually, nah.
Come on, mate.
Slapping his back. You're in your car.
Yeah.
And
I'm driving.
Zombie 2-pack jumps in your car.
Zombie 2-pack.
I haven't heard this one.
And he's like, obviously I've been dead since the 90s. Like, what has hip hop come to? Play me 3 tracks, and you've almost kind of got to been like, I've got to make sure 2-pack knows that it's not all over for hip hop. Okay. It's not complete shit.
Ooh.
I've got to play him 3 tracks right now. Like, what are you gonna just whack on?
Are you gonna get? So I'm gonna play Duckworth by Kendrick, because that's probably one of the best storytelling. But like the way that he links that back to Top Dog and his dad being in the studio and it reversing the album.
Knife Wonder, innit?
Yo, Like the way that like people, like it still goes over people's heads.
Yeah,
Like
man.
that is single-handedly maybe one of the best executions of an idea and a project in one thing.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's just like better
Especially
than,
when you released Damn, the back to front version
exactly,
of it.
yeah, and it was all like, what's going on? And then you hear it, and you're like, this guy's a like, obviously, you know, he's a genius, but it's like just the way that he does it, and he doesn't even need to be like, yo, you just listen to it,
Yeah, man.
and it's like it all links, and it's like me with like my bars. Say, take for example, like anything, but like say you're like Say I say, we're in the sunshine after the rain. I'm a lone ranger. I've known danger. I hold this pain. There's more to gain. Like I don't waver. Be Xavier, forever bound to this chair in the woods. You can't dance with this bear, cause the darkness you fear with the thoughts that I bear. Terra Nova I stare at. I'm claiming my share back. I found where my head's at the end of the road, sending signals to my body like get with the code. And it's like that all makes sense. And everything links.
This is when I need a soundboard for this sort of shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, but people don't do that anymore. And it's like, and I get that sometimes it goes over people's heads. And yeah, you write the songs like Be Now, where it's just like me flexing. I'm like, you fucking with Be Now, and like all the bars, they still make sense. Like,
do you know what's kind of for me like the precursor of that track? So Duckworth, man, like that. Like Ninth Wonder as well is one of my favorite producers of all time.
Yeah.
So
dude,
just the perfect.
insane.
And that track, to your point,
Yeah.
it is genius.
3 beat flips.
It's incredible.
4 minutes.
But the
What are you
precursor
doing?
to that
Like-
was like Mad City. You know, like when. Obviously, conceptually, it's very different.
Yeah.
But when he talks about at the end of that track, it's like, can you imagine like innocent Kendrick, and then it alludes to potentially murdering someone when he was a kid, and you kind of think, oh, fuck, like that, he's probably telling the truth here. Like you just don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Angel on
Angel Dust
Yeah.
is just that track is just. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that track now.
It's like
Do you know what I mean?
Duckworth is the one.
Fucking
like,
incredible.
So I play him Duckworth. Sorry, mad tangent.
So you're playing Duckworth.
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
playing
yeah.
Duckworth. I'm playing Duckworth first because I'm being like, this is, you know, he said about he's going to influence the kid that changes hip hop.
Well, that's like
Tupac said that.
That's pretty much. You know what you want to play him? You'd play him Mortal Man, because it's Mortal Man ends in that Tupac interview with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, okay,
Where
so-
Kendrick's interviewing like Tupac. Like,
So maybe I get 4. Maybe I get to sandwich those two together as a one cat. I'll be like, this is Kendrick, like, and because it's Kendrick, you're allowed. Then I play him. I play him Mac Miller, Back to Earth, because that song, man, like it proves where hip hop can go. And like you can take the essential elements of it, like all the kind of like jazzy influences and the spacey shit, but then you can be like my regrets look like texts I never send. Do you know what I mean? Like, and my neighbors look like strangers, but we could be friends. And it's like simple shit, but like it's so smart. And it's like that with combined with like Duckworth, I do. And then because I'm in the car, I play in one of my tracks. Like, come
yeah,
on.
why not?
Like really,
Yeah, I like that.
there
I'll
we
rate
go.
that, man.
Like,
I'll rate that.
like, and it's just
Good
like,
answer.
yeah,
I would go for Scooter.
Scooter.
For Logical song, wasn't it? They did a cover of that. That's it.
He's like, I'm gonna go with Logic.
Oh man.
That's a good question, Jake.
Yeah,
I like
that is
that.
Well,
actually.
it has to be hip hop. Oh, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
That is incredibly tough.
You got to save it. Or my other question, right? You ready for this? So you're in charge. You're like producing your own like reality TV show, like Big Brother or I'm a Celeb or Love Island.
All right.
You can choose your concept on how like your show runs.
Yeah.
And you can put your own guests in there.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to restrict it to just hip hop, but I'm
Yeah.
going to say like include some hip hop artists, but generally you can choose some artists
Yeah.
from other genres if you want to mix up a bit. Who are you going to put in there for some good like viewing?
What viewing?
Like, you wanna make a good-
I'd put like fucking Alicia Banks, like Stefflon Don, like I'd put like
Stefflon Don, yeah,
Iggy
yeah, yeah.
Azalea, like so I'd throw some couple
Cardi
Eric
B and Nicki Minaj.
Just loads of
Cardi
sass
B,
in there.
and
Just
then,
sass it out.
And then like
yeah.
like Eric Clapton for no reason. Just so he's got to deal with it. Like Bowie if he was still alive, and like those guys, like the conversation of them watching Cardi B and Nicki go at it.
I think
would
you gotta
make for
get,
the
I
best
love
TV,
that, man.
yo.
I think you got to get Suge Knight in there as well.
Yo, yeah, Suge Knight, get Suge Knight and Dre in there, but they don't know they're in the same house for like a week. And
Yeah.
then open the doors and they're
It'd
like,
be like one of
yo,
those-
motherfuckers.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
one of
like,
those
shit.
plot twists.
Oh man, I'd love to like see like that kid or Dirty Dyke on Love Island as well.
Yo,
How long would they last? Like,
they'd get kicked out. They'd be like, why can't I smoke weed? Like, because I'd be the same. I'd be like, this is stupid.
part of
like,
me would love to just see like one of them just fall in love with someone on there. Like,
that would be better. What, like that? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
oh man,
Or
I like that question.
what's
That's
the,
fucking
the
funny,
famous
man. It's jokes.
Jake's question when we got the taxi, Would you rather?
Go on.
Would you rather
This is good,
sit
this
on
is
a
a good
cake
game.
and suck a dick, or no?
Wait,
Would you
sit
rather?
on a
This is your
cake and suck
question,
a
mate.
Yeah, this is
Would-
this is
Nah,
all
your
Aiden.
Lad, would you rather sit on a cake and eat a dick, or eat a cake and sit on a dick?
You can't even get your joke.
That's what Jake asked the taxi driver.
No, you
No,
are.
you did.
You
So
are.
Jake just asked an innocent
Hey,
question. He
Aiden.
was like, "What's your favourite sandwich, mate?" Oh
What's
yeah,
your favourite sandwich?
because
What's
it's
my
funny,
favourite
right?
sandwich? Chicken club or a tuna melt?
good choice.
He's assertive. You know
No.
your shit.
Yeah.
So we recorded a podcast and went to a gig a little while back, and like where our guest was performing, we all jumped in the taxi down
That's
to
it.
the show.
Like, yeah.
And on the way down, we had this taxi driver. So that's what Aiden was talking about. We were asking
Yeah.
all these like inane, ridiculous questions, having a laugh. And then I got a taxi a couple of weeks later, and it's the same taxi driver. And I was like, I know this guy, and I got him to like shout down the phone. And he was like, I called up these boys, I think, or left like a audio on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And he was like, chicken sandwich.
Fuck's sake.
Did,
You
no,
guys
did,
should sample
I
that.
thought he was going,
Oi.
you want to suck a dick?
didn't he say he was gonna fuck Jake?
At one point, yeah.
Yeah,
he
he
said-
said he was gonna fuck
He,
Jake.
didn't he
yeah.
say
Yeah,
something
well,
about no teeth? But like, I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
mate.
pretty.
Do you guys watch Your Mum's House podcast?
No,
Like,
man.
Christina
No.
Pazinski and Tom Segura.
No,
I
no.
mainly just listen
that's
to my
like-
own podcast and wank.
That's fucking
Yeah.
like same with music, man. I don't listen to anyone else. Like,
Whilst looking at yourself in the mirror.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Like Patrick Bateman style, American Psycho. Just like flexing.
Oh, funny,
Amazing, man. So what are you listening to at the moment, man?
Fuck.
Besides like
so
Russ
much.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So we talked about that gym wise and stuff.
Bandana.
Mhm.
Is fucking like Pinata was like I listened to Freddie Gibbs before Pinata.
Yeah,
like,
same, man.
And like The Ghetto came out in 2010, like, and that was kind of his first thing over the Milkbone beat,
Mhm.
which Logic used for Young Sinatra Free. But yeah, it's just like that whole thing of like them all starting like from like the bottom and kind of like moving is dope to me. So it's like, and because like I'm at that stage where I'm growing and stuff, but I get to work with people who are there already. It's kind of like a weird perspective. So yeah, I just like Freddie Gibbs, man. Like I've been listening to loads. I've just been listening to like G Yamazawa. Like his project's really, really fucking dope. I've been listening to like a lot of my shit, if I'm completely honest. Like
have
because
to,
I'm
I
like
guess.
in
Yeah,
album
yeah.
mode and I'm like trying to like finish stuff off. I'm like making new stuff like every day. I'll make like 4 beats a day as well. So I'm like
Yeah, man.
fucking smashing shit out, and then
Yeah.
I'm doing other stuff for other people. So it's like I'm just like always listening to like a lot of stuff that's kind of in front of me. And then if I'm out, like I always listen to Mac Miller, like literally, like, and he was like one of like probably the biggest like influences of music on me.
Rest in peace.
Like, yeah,
Well,
literally.
we were
like,
talking
so
a bit before about you jumped on a food bar with like My Stiggy
Yeah,
and
man.
a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
time
yeah.
ago, and you just been getting amongst it and doing stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
literally.
you were telling me earlier as well about like your I guess kind of like accent in when you rap
yeah.
and how it's a little bit kind of muddled because you've lived everywhere.
Yeah, so like basically I grew up in London, and then I moved to Spain. I went to international school for like 2 years, like on and off, like obviously like around like a load of Americans, a load of like Australians. Moved back to London for a bit, and then moved to Cornwall, and then I was around a load of Australians again and like a load of surfers. And then I moved back to London. But then in between, I've like visited Spain, like gone all over and stuff, and it's just like I've picked up so much like weirdness and like inflections in my brain. So like when I like say stuff in my head, I'm like, okay, this is this, and then like I end up, it comes out as like the way.
Do
it
you
does.
speak Spanish?
Yeah, I do.
Can you rap in Spanish?
Yeah, I've got a track on the album. I don't know if it's. I'll check on my laptop if I've finished recording it. But yeah, it's like.
Oh man,
That's
I'd
sick.
love
That's
it.
like
Would you be able to drop some bars now?
I literally they're not in my head.
Okay, man, fair play.
That's like the.
I was putting you very on the spot.
fucking
fair
love to
enough.
hear that,
I can only remember like I think it was like Botellas de Alhambra cruising on Shoshana off the back of Granada with the back end of the Spanish Armada, like something like Magna Carta, Frank Sinatra. Like, but it was like
Wait a
something
minute,
like
that isn't Spanish.
But
just
the
gibberish.
Thing, yeah, no, I know. But the thing is about that is like drinking Botellas de Alhambra off the back of Shoshana. Like when I grew up, like in like international school or whatever, I was like around a bunch of rich people, and I wasn't rich, and I was like the only one turning up to school in like a Ford Focus. Everyone's in like these big cars or whatever, and my friend had a boat, and it was called Shoshana, and we used to drink Botellas de Alhambra. So it's like off the coast of Granada, off the coast of Spain where we were at, like cruising on Shoshana, and it's like it all links, and
Yeah.
it's just like
Damn,
everything
son.
that I do does that.
Had very different lives.
Yeah, man.
Some of the Cypress Hill
But-
Spanish
Yeah.
album.
But the thing is-
That was
Yeah.
sick, man.
But the thing is like I it's weird because like I got to like 14 or whatever, and then like my parents split up. So it's like I had a really cool like upbringing, and then it's like all of this stuff like turned, and then I moved out when my mum moved away from Cornwall, and then like I like ended up moving back to London by myself. So it's like I like ended up moving away from my family a lot and kind of just being in this like echo chamber of like I'm gonna do music, I'm gonna do this stuff, and it's like you end up just kind of falling into place.
Yeah, man. I think it's sick. And what's in the pipeline now? Because you've obviously just released a new track.
Yeah. So.
And that was on your birthday, right?
Yeah,
last
it was.
week.
Yeah.
Birthday for last week. It
Tom.
depressed me how young you are as well. Well, he's 26, but that's still young
for me. I feel
for me.
really young, man. Like honestly,
You are really young.
Yeah, no, I know I am. Yeah. But yeah, it's just so I've got that. Like I've dropped that. The video's out on YouTube now. Then I've got another track called It's Bare is coming out next week on Friday. Video's dropping for that as well. I've got a load of other videos. My video guy called Craig is somebody that I grew up with in Bude, in Cornwall. So shout outs to him. Like if anyone needs videos, like fucking Craig Visuals is the guy. Like but yeah, me and him like obviously link up and do stuff. So it's like he's my main guy. So we're gonna like I'm going to Exeter in 2 weeks to go and do more video stuff. And it's just about doing that. I've got my Project Golden coming out soon.
How important is it for you to have someone like this person when it comes to being creative? Because obviously you're on the same wavelength, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's like you need. I think that's where the disparity comes with like a lot of people trying to put music out. Is like they pay somebody to do something, and it's like they don't know them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And it's about like teamwork, and it's about building. It's like you guys know each other, and this works because you guys got good chemistry. And
well, you should see the chat. It doesn't work sometimes.
No, but it does, because even the mundane stuff, the things that you guys probably don't think are like interesting, like you'll talk about shit sometimes, and I'm like, I never thought of that. But because obviously you guys are all in and like you spend enough time with each other, like you've got that bond, and it's about doing that. And it's like coming back to the point I said earlier, it's like surrounding yourself with people that are sick and just like all vibing and like going towards one thing. Like you should surround yourself with people that talk about like visions and like what they're gonna do rather than talk about other people.
Because we
I saw that quote the other day.
Yeah, I posted that the other day.
Yeah.
Because we did a podcast with Res One a little while ago, and the guy who does from This and That Media, he's called Dom Q, and he directs a lot of videos for like the High Focus Camp and like Potent Funk. He's just done Bailey's Brown's new video. Have you seen that with Dabbler and Dat Kid? Gimme,
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, really good.
Cool.
And yeah, it was cool hearing like his take on what he did, his kind of process. He has all these kind of laminated sheets and has a storyboard, rocks up, and works with the artist to discuss kind of, all right, what budget do you have, and what's the most effective kind of visual I can create for your track based on your budget. And sometimes like people with next to no money make the most creative videos.
But that's the thing. It's
you're
like
forced
me and Craig,
creatively.
we did it. Like we've just like the song AU that I've got coming out. Like it's like the hook's like I don't want to drown, and it's like we did like a load of shots, like shot in my bathtub at my house. Do you know what I mean? Like with GoPros and stuff, and it's just like thinking about how to do it and executing it properly, but like in such a way where you're not. You just need to be authentic, really. And I think like a lot of people are like have that stigma of like, oh, people are getting put on because of X, Y, and Z, and it's like you'll do well if you're good and you do the right thing and you put out the right message. Like if you don't and like nothing's hitting or whatever for whatever reason, it's like maybe you're just shit, or maybe you need to just change stuff. But people won't say it because they're like, it's like, oh, like that's wrong to say, but it's like
it's too much like back patting, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, mate, you're dope, but when in fact,
I'd rather that somebody says that, and it's like Mix Swagger and like all those guys, like I've like obviously like people that you've posted, I've kind of like talked to and been like, do you need beats? Do you need like mixing, mastering?
So can I just ask something? Is that all been like we been the catalyst behind that relationship?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Which is dope, and it's like
that's fucking cool,
it's
man.
Like,
I like that.
We did a thing.
We did a thing. And it's dope, and it's like, and I've made sure
mad, man. That's really
because
cool.
I know what I can do, and I know that people are just starting out. It's like I get that sometimes like I'll be like, oh, it's 50 quid to like master a track or whatever, but it's like it's the time spent and the time put in, and it's like if you're gonna spend that money and do whatever to your art, it's like you need to put the money in and pay your producers, pay your engineers, because you're not gonna win cutting corners, and like everyone that's ever won hasn't cut corners. They've just gone, actually, I've got to do this.
They've had enough faith in themselves.
And I think everyone that cuts corners, like they haven't got that faith of just I'm gonna do this.
So an example, and going off a hip hop tip, I always always think of Sylvester Stallone making Rocky.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I always think of that. He sold his dog apparently to fund Rocky, like to get something over the line, and then when he obviously like smashed it with Rocky, he bought his dog back.
But look at Mac and Q.
That's like the most inspirational story ever.
But it's the same thing with Mac and Q and Nikes on My Feet. Like they all filmed that in his old mum's house. And they did it with no budget, nothing. And it got like 30 million views.
I liked old school Matt videos.
So
from,
do I,
like
man.
the kids mixtape.
Yeah,
where he's just literally walking around.
Kids, like.
That's like one of my favourite mixtapes. But when he's just walking around like Blue Slide Park area and Philly and whatever.
What's your view on UK hip hop at the moment generally?
I think it's really good, and I think what's happening with like Stormzy and Dave and like everyone like putting each other on is amazing. Mm-hmm. But I think there's this other side to it where like people aren't putting each other on and people are really jealous, and it's like that just needs to fucking stop. Stop being bitches. Like, I'm sorry. But
do you think there is a?
So is that still in grime, or is that like?
I think it's in everything.
Yeah.
Like literally. Sorry. Go on.
Do you think there? Yeah. Like going back to what you were just saying, there is a point where there's almost sort of like, you know, someone's doing better than me, so I don't want to support them.
Yeah. And I've had that. I've been in studios with people like that. Like, I'm not going to mention names, but it's like you like
give us a name.
Yeah, off air.
Give us a beat.
Like off air. But it's like I think it's such a weird situation to be in where you're like, I'm creating this thing out of nothing. Here's my art. This is what I've done. I've made this beat out of nothing. These song lyrics have and I get that it's a weird thing, but it's like if somebody's better than you, you should stay around them, like we were saying, and like learn. You shouldn't.
You always, if you surround yourself with
them, it's silly.
Exactly, man. If you surround yourself with really like
genuinely good people,
and then you kind of strive to get there. And to your point, you'll have a strength that they might be. You know, that's a shortcoming to them, and they'll aspire to something you're doing as well. So it all.
You just leave your ego at the door every
That's
time.
it, man.
And
That's
just, like, move forward.
And be open to kind of constructive criticism and just move forward rather than just being, I own this. This is mine. It's like, fuck that.
Well, like, and the thing is like
bitterness is so transparent as well.
Yeah, and I think it's like to your point. It's like Be Now was mine until I put it out last like Friday on my birthday. Now it's everybody else's. It's not yours.
So it's
anymore.
not like the auteur theory where it's like, oh, actually, I see what you mean. Because it's the same with like, I'm really into my films. So same if a director like makes a certain piece of work and it's like, right, my intention was to make this film. This is the only way you can possibly interpret it. As soon as it's out in public domain, it's like, no, fuck off. It's however it's received.
Yeah, it's how your art to a point, and then it's everyone else's art because you've created it for everyone else. Otherwise, you're just making a hobby.
You can obviously still say this is what I intended it to be.
Oh, of course.
You're not like Tommy Wiseau from The Room. You're like, oh, I made a serious drama, and then everyone laughs at your drama. So all of a sudden, oh no, it was a black comedy all the time.
Yeah. It's not. It's about like it's about respecting your vision. Like it isn't. It's about like respecting artists and about respecting everything. And it's just like, I think people won't take the time to like me spitting the bars and like all the connections. It's like people don't take the time to write that anymore because of the mumble stuff. And then people who get put onto stuff like that who aren't capable of it get turned off because they feel some type of way. And then the people that are actually there that do fuck with it so heavy. Like I've got so many dope messages from people like, this is really cool, this is like really refreshing, this is like new, like whatever. And it's like all I've tried to do is like take everything that I listened to for the past 10 years and like give it in a new presentable form, but like how I like to make music. Like I'd do this if I was in a fucking cardboard box, but I'm just lucky enough to be able to like work with people and like, sorry Aiden, I just punched the mic. My bad. As an engineer, that's a no-no. But yeah, like fucking yeah, like it's just one of those things. And I think like a lot of people who don't know their shit feel really like back against the wall, and you'll get some bullshit from them. But it's like I've done a lot of martial arts as well, and it's like it's taught me to be very fucking calm and very like like not fuck with people, because it's like you don't know what anyone's capable of, and it's like you've trained for whatever, but it's like the situations that arise where people are like shouting at each other's faces, it's because they're both scared to punch each other because they've never been in a fight. They don't know what happens when they get hit in the jaw. Like, and it's just about learning that and like kind of like growing and kind of like being calm with people. Like,
so going back to obviously I think that's a very big point what you were saying about how obviously there's a point in grime. Grime's doing amazingly.
Yeah, it's really
because
dope, man.
There's so many people like putting other people
Dave's
on.
fucking amazing.
But then there doesn't seem to be that much of it in. Am I right in saying? Would you agree? There's not much of that in hip hop.
Exactly, and this is the thing. And I
mean, there is. I'm not saying there's none of it at all, because there is to an extent.
No, there is, but there's not a lot of it. And not to mention any names, but like, you look at the Ocean Wisdom situation with High Focus.
Yeah.
And it's like, what went on there? Like, he's not at any of the shows anymore. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's all a bit weird. And it's like, I don't know what's gone on. We all don't know. Do you know what I mean? But it's like stuff that I've heard from people. And it's like I've met like Verb and like people like that at shows like that I've done, because I did like Pupils of the Clock's first tape on One Line.
Yeah, Lazy Eyes and that. Yeah.
And like Tori and like Isaac are really lovely people. They're dope. And it's like what they're doing is really cool. And like, and it's just like,
yeah, man, Lazy Eyes is sick, man.
like, and the thing is like, I think everyone should just fucking put each other on. Like, and I don't get the whole hate thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird to me.
I think I don't think there's any. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of issue with Ocean Wisdom and High Focus. I think. Where he,
well, it's just that
I don't know. You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, it's just strange the way that it's gone down to me.
I think with like everything with UK hip hop and grime and the music industry in general is that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You see
and there's so much speculation. I'm sure they're cool, but it's just weird. Like, do you know what I mean?
You see what's presented like on YouTube and social media, and it's all kind of like unified, like High Focus as a whole, just as an example, as a label, all the artists get on, but it's probably not the case.
No,
individual, passionate people with different motivations and different objectives, and that. It's a human.
Yeah, man.
It's a kind
of
like
growth thing.
Exactly.
As well.
Man.
It's like he was always going to outgrow High Focus. I think if you saw him.
Well, I bet he's
like, I saw him I saw him support Method Man and Redman.
Incredibly driven person.
Yo, and
incredibly driven and so talented.
And it's fucking awesome. But it's like, I get that if you're not on that level and you haven't had that drive and you're being surrounded by it every day, it must be fucking relentless, man. Imagine going into the studio every day and he's like, and you're like, what the fuck? I need to throw my rhyme book out and start. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and that is the level of competition that they're at.
I think it is the typically the people who like your Ocean Wisdoms who have that drive and nothing else will do. It's kind of like that. That's how I see like.
Well, he's sort of got his own label now.
It's like, and High Focus have been
like,
like incredible
as
and I hate using this expression because it's not the case, but like as a stepping stone of sorts, because you know they're still a very like big independent scene.
They're all really lovely people. But that brings, I'm sure that it's.
But that's part of their appeal, though. Like, to most of the fan base, that's part of the appeal.
Yeah.
Like UK hip hop is boom bap with some exceptions.
Yeah.
It does appeal to people who don't relate to the US scene necessarily. And they don't want commercial sounding artists.
No.
But as a result of that, if you look from an industry perspective and as an artist who wants to maybe make some money, it's not always the most, I guess, feasible solution.
No, and that's the thing is like...
It's a conflict, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean? And it's a conflict of interest. And I'm sure everything's cool with those guys, but it's like, you look at it and you're just like, as somebody who's worked in the industry and seen shit go on, like I would love to like know what everyone thinks about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, because it's just like, I bet some people are feeling some type of way, some people aren't, and it's just like, I think it's good, and I think everyone should kind of like speak out and be open and honest about it, and just like any merger situation like that. I think it's really cool.
That's the thing, man. It's like two minds. Obviously, it's talking from the industry side of things, and it's talking about just the music.
Exactly,
you know,
and the music's always
dope. As a fan of the music, that's why I'm a fan of. You know, the likes of High Focus because they do put good music out.
They put sick music.
There are like certain artists I don't necessarily fuck with, but for the most part, I think. You know, they've got a really good, solid, roster. Do you know what I mean?
They do have a really good roster. Like,
but yeah, no, I think it's an interesting point though.
Yeah, man.
I think it just goes back to your point about being around motivated people and putting each other up and don't let your ego swallow you up.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, everyone's the same.
Yeah.
But,
well, you hear about a lot of them. A lot of rappers, especially in the UK scene, like they make each other like parties or something, and they just got together and made beats and made tunes, and then it's just like creative people sort of finding each other and just excelling and then just fucking making like banging, sick
And
albums.
I think that's cool as well, because it's like, I think I don't know obviously like how the Ocean thing happened, but like obviously he had that walking tune with Icke, and then like they obviously like found him, so it must be cool for them to see like him now have his own label and fucking do stuff.
They were part of the journey,
and it's just like, I think it's really cool, and I think a lot more people like in the UK scene need to do that, and kind of it's weird because I talk to a lot of UK rappers and they're all like, oh, I'm just going to do this. And they're not like, oh, I'm going to be on tour in 2 years, I'm going to do this. And it's like, I'm under no illusion of that. And I definitely will do that. But it's like, you have to say it, and you have to put stuff in place and know what
it has to manifest, right?
Yeah, and it's
your ideas
like,
have to manifest. Otherwise, what is the point?
And it's
unless
you're doing,
unless you're doing it for therapy.
Like, which you're not.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, if you're coming on here or you're like making music or whatever, like, I'm sorry, but you want to be doing what Stormzy did and play Glastonbury. If you say otherwise, you're lying to me. Like, because you're not in it. Like, we're not all like, we'd all obviously make music from a cardboard box.
Yeah, man.
But it's like, if you can get to that level, why wouldn't you not want to be there? Like, sorry, it's just real,
just conscious of time, Bear, man.
Oh, yeah,
because you got a train to catch, man. But
go on.
But so no. Just before we wrap up, obviously we're going to play out with another one of your tracks, and I want you to kind of talk a little bit more about that. But so has anyone been listening to anything this week? Hip hop wise, because I really want to talk about the fucking Billy Woods album. Because I put it out
project.
Because I put it out to the Insta community the other day on Shotgun The Aux, and follow that shit. And
plug.
And I said, right, it was kind of like a passive aggressive little, okay, have you heard of this guy? Because if not, fuck you. And he's kind of like an alternative rapper from New York called Billy Woods, and he's done a couple of projects with like the likes of Bus Driver and other alternative heads.
Yeah.
And this project's called Hiding Places, and it's produced by Kenny Siegel, and it was in Anthony Fantano's like top, I think top albums of the year.
Yeah, man.
And man, it's one of these albums where you either kind of get it or you don't.
Yeah, no.
It's not accessible.
It's dark.
not like a one you nod your head to.
Yeah.
But lyrically, man, like some of the shit man.
He
raps about.
Like, and I think that's the thing. Is like, I think there's a place for everything.
Like, that lyric though, his whole like chorus in that track, he's just like, I don't want to see Nas play with an orchestra at the Carnegie Hall, and that's the hook of the fucking track.
No, I know. It's
amazing.
Weird.
Go check that out. Fucking Billy
literally.
Woods.
Is this the poll you put up on the Instagram story?
Yeah.
Said no, didn't they?
Well, people. So I think
people
about.
were like, what the
So
fuck?
you had a few people who were like, yeah, fuck yeah, low key album of the year, which
Yeah.
it is in my opinion. Just the
Bandana.
stuff he says is so street.
I need to give this a listen, man.
He says
honestly.
in the track Red Dust, he says like, I break bread with rapists and killers, and I've made money with that you wouldn't leave your kids with for 2 minutes. It's just like. No one is rapping like that, man. It's just like the streetest stuff.
Like, no, honestly, it's kind of nuts.
Is it like that
cover
sort of sewage rap sort of thing?
No. It's not like fucking Das Effects. It's not like Das Effects, man. But yeah, it's like the cover art's like a dilapidated house, which is almost like a metaphor for the album. But you know, we were speaking to Icke when he was on, and he said when you listen to an album, you effectively want to get into the mind of the artist.
Yeah, of course.
And rather than just that surface level and think, okay, you're kicking some raps and you're spitting some bars, but I don't really know who you are.
Yeah.
This album feels like you're just diving into a weird rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that, man. So
Yeah,
that's
so
my
am I.
recommend for this week, man.
I enjoy that.
Billy Woods, Hiding Places.
I
Fuck you if
recommend
you're not listening
Bandana.
to it. Oh yeah, and Bandana. But I still prefer Pinata.
I don't.
But
I'm the unpopular opinion.
I heard that he made Bandana the whole thing on an iPad.
Yeah.
Madlib
I
produced the
believe
entire
that.
thing on a fucking iPad.
I believe that.
That's
A
nuts.
bit like Shotgun The Aux first episode.
Yeah. So you saying that
yeah.
you suggesting that we're
I'm suggesting
the same as Madlib. We're the
we
Madlib
are-
of
I would
podcasts.
say
You're the
we're
champion
on-
sounds
yeah, I
of
would say we're
podcasts.
on
Yeah, I
the
like that. So anyway, Bear Man, thank you so much for coming
Honestly,
on.
it's golden.
Before we wrap up, we're going to play out one of your.
You've got a glee for your training, man. You should come back for another.
Yeah, you are,
episode,
man.
You're
Yeah, no, I will,
always welcome.
honestly. Like, thank you very much. And I will come back. Basically, like, my album's going to come out in the next 2 months. And what I'll do, if it's okay with you guys, I'll come back for the launch of that.
Yeah, man, for real.
And
Yeah,
I'll come
yeah,
for
of course.
I'll come for longer and we'll, like,
Mate,
chill out.
we'll chill out. Come on the weekend, mate. mate. We'll
Yeah,
have a
exactly.
few drinks and whatnot. But
Yeah.
so tell us a little about the track we're playing out with, and also before we do,
Yeah.
is there anyone you want to plug? Is there anything you want to talk about before we sign out?
No, I just want to say like you guys are doing a dope thing and fucking keep it up. Like
Appreciate that, man.
consistency has been dope and like keep smashing it. Like I really appreciate like listening to it, and it's like I thank you for having me on.
Pleasure.
Now comes the plug. Obviously, I've got Golden coming out soon. B Now's out on all streaming platforms, and I've got a video out for that. It's Bear, which is coming out next week, and the audio's coming out on Friday or Saturday for that. I'm just waiting for Spotify and iTunes to kind of tell me when that's coming out. Yeah, and I've just got a load of music coming up. I've been talking to I Am Savvy, a Battle for the Hearts and Minds. Shout out to him, he's doing fucking bits, like, and his message is really dope. I'm going to be on his podcast at some point soon. We're just trying to figure out dates. I'm talking to like a load of people to try and like sort stuff out. But yeah, it's just about building and just keep going. Basically.
Bless, man. No, it's been a pleasure having you on,
no,
mate.
honestly, it's been fucking dope.
And did you say you're going on tour? You're planning on going on tour?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to put together like a little kind of like shows like up and down the country, and then it'll be like a kind of
Bournemouth show
together. Hopefully, man. Like
we'll try
it's
and
just
hook you
about
up.
getting those fans again.
Yeah,
and,
try
like,
and hook
kind
you
of,
up, man.
like, getting gigs and shit. But yeah, I've been talking to somebody who's very close to like some stuff that I did with like Section 80 and stuff, like young Section 80, not old Section 80 boys, like young sleeks, not older wise sleeks. But like those guys, because like I need a decent manager, and I've had like a load of shit happen to me like previously, and I'm like, just sort me out with a decent manager and I'll fucking give him everything and I'm ready to go. So he's like, I will sort you out. So yeah, stay tuned.
Bless, man, bless.
Nice one.
Well, thanks for coming on again, man. So we're going to play out with the track It's Bear.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk a bit about the track?
Yeah, so it's the second single off of my project Golden. Basically, it's the Leaf Dog sample that they used for Jesus Christ, I can't remember, Silent Flight on the 4 Hours album. I just took kind of the basic stems of everything and just like reflipped it a little bit. But it's just me basically rapping and flexing and being like kind of a little bit like jokey about UK hip hop. Like some of the bars are like, it's murder, murder, fire and struts, they ain't coming any further. I've been a berserker since day one. To Zeus, I've been a great son, given holy powers, I am the great one. But then it's like, but then I've got like more shit where it's like, where I'm like, but like Aiden, but then I've got more shit where it's like, they be to a rat, like B, he breathes static, this bear, he runs rabbit, like he's become savage, his weight beyond average, the demons they can't have it, the memories they aren't baggage, the lessons they done damage, way backward knees, habits became salt magic, I'm a type it passive, like, so it's like a load of stuff like that. But obviously, like I was saying, you go listen to that back and everything will link. But yeah, it's just about doing that, and it's about doing it, but like I've left all the ad libs, like me laughing in there, like the last bar's like, I'm like the motherfucking Martian, like, and it's just like taking the fun out of it and just like kind of like giving good vibes.
I'll rate that, man. I'll rate that.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up then, Aiden, where can you find the podcast, sir?
Thank you very much, Thomas Allen, to my part.
Hey!
So, you can find the podcast exactly the same places as I said you could find it last week.
You might have not tuned in though, so where's that?
Oh, shit. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, any fucking motherfucking podcast streaming platform.
On the planet.
On the planet.
Hey.
If we're not on it, then just message us and we'll get on it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, man.
We're at
Yeah.
Shotgun The Aux. Bear, thanks again for tuning in,
Thank you
man,
very
for
much.
joining us on the podcast. Safe journey home, bruv.
Sweet.
And
Thank you very much.
this is
Episode 26 of Shotgun The Aux.
and the track is
It's Bear.